Sandra gets home from school. She drops off her backpacks at her home, right? Then she starts knocking on the neighbors' doors. Supper comes around, and her mom's like, where the hell is Sandra? She starts calling up all of Sandra's best friends in the neighborhood. None of them have seen Sandra since around 4 p.m. Now it's about 7, so it's been a good 3 hours. So she starts freaking out. She's running through the neighborhood, calling Sandra's name. Yet again, nobody has seen her, right? All the neighbors start coming out. They start helping. Sandra, Sandra, where are you? She calls the police, and they immediately spring into action. They start looking. They're searching all over the place. They're posting these flyers of Sandra's face everywhere, and they have absolutely no leads. So they're out there searching, and near a dump site, they find a shirt. A Hello Kitty shirt, a pink one. So everyone is devastated, because that means she's probably dead. So they call in the whole Cantu family, and immediately they're like, that's not hers. It's not the right size. So everyone feels relief again, right? So it's just like this roller coaster of emotions. Then they get a tip from a neighbor that lived like 3 doors down from the Cantu family. And it was Melissa. And she said, I don't know if this matters. I just keep replaying it in my head. But that day that Sandra went missing, I had put a suitcase, a really big piece of luggage outside on my driveway because I was going to load it into my car. But it went missing. You know, the suitcase itself was big enough to fit an 8-year-old for sure, but someone stole it. So she tells the police this, and they try to look into it, but honestly, they don't really think it's a good lead because, okay, your suitcase went missing, like worst case scenario, it's a petty theft, it's another vandal situation, but really, like you think that's got something to do with it? So they're like, okay, thanks, Melissa, and they move on. So then they decide to have this massive candlelit vigil where they're just gonna rally the community together, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the candlelight vigil, a woman is screaming through the crowd. They're like, what's wrong? What's wrong, right? And she's like, you gotta follow me. You gotta follow me. So the FBI follow her, and she leads them to where the mailboxes are in this neighborhood. And she's like, I found it right here. I found it right here. And she just plops onto the ground, bawling her eyes out. So the FBI look down, and they see a piece of paper. They lean over. The piece of paper says, Cantu is in stolen luggage in water at the Bacelli and Whitehall Road. Signed, witness. So they go to those 2 intersections of those 2 roads, and they're met with a stench. But not the stench that you're thinking. The stench of manure. Because the intersection was a pond and a dairy farm that would spew cow poop into a pond to get rid of it. Okay. So it was thick. You couldn't even look in there because it said in water. They can't even go in the water because it's not even water at this point. It's just sludge of cow. So they didn't know what to do. They start searching around the area, but they didn't really find much. So they go back to the woman who had found that note. Hey, did you see anyone, right? They're just trying to ask her the normal, everyday questions. And that woman is Melissa. So the police immediately are like, okay, we know exactly what's happening. Melissa's a Karen, okay? Melissa is one of those women who want to, well, there's a lot of men who do this too, by the way. They're one of those people that want to insert themselves into this investigation. She's trying to make it focus around herself, right? Oh my God, my luggage was stolen. And then, oh my God, the same day that Sandra went missing. Oh my God, look at I found this letter. And then on the letter, it said stolen luggage. That's just weird. So the police kind of think that she did this for attention. They ask around and everyone says, oh, Melissa? She's kind of an attention. She's kind of like that. Like she's one of those people. I don't know what to say, right? So they still need to make sure. And they ask Melissa, can we search her car? It's just mandatory. We got to do what we got to do. So Melissa, she consents to this search, and they start going through her car, and everything was clean. There was no, like, sniffer dogs came in. They didn't smell a cadaver. They didn't smell a body. They didn't smell anything, but they did find something in her glove compartment, which was a note, a Post-it note, a sticky note, right? And it had a bunch of words on there that were aggressively scribbled out. But the FBI, they're slick, so they bring in this sticky note, and they use, like, some sort of light technology to isolate the scribbles from the words underneath. Nothing's safe, okay? And it had 2 words on there of the roads that were on the witness note. Just wait till they search her house. Inside of her room where she lived with her parents and her daughter, they find a notebook with a page torn out. The page matched exactly the same type of paper that was used for the note. Here's where it gets worse. You know when you write really hard? There were indentations on the next page.
Great job.
So they start trying to question her. But before they can call her into the station, she shows up. She's knocking on their door. And she's like, you know what? I know that you just searched my house. But I've got a list of very suspicious people that I think that you need to talk to immediately. Okay? So they say, okay, well, who's your list of suspicious people we need to talk to immediately? The first person that she gives, let's call him Gary, okay? She says, Gary's a weirdo. He's had situations in this neighborhood where people don't like him. See, Gary has this habit of drugging kids. Now, she's saying Gary is suspicious because Sandra would always spend time at Gary's place too, because she loved just about anyone. She never really judged people. I mean, she had the true innocence of a child, right? So they investigate Gary, but they don't really find anything. But before they can hit the ball and get running to the next lead, they make a discovery. There was a suitcase found very close to where the letter said that it would be. And they were called out. A lot of the dairy farm workers had found it. They get to the suitcase and they had to kind of drag it out of the water, the sludge of and stuff. They just had this sinking feeling the minute that they picked it up because of the weight of the suitcase. So they noticed the weight. They put it into a body bag. They transport it to the coroner's office. And when they open it, it was the body of Sandra Cantu. She was crawled up in a fetal position and she was dead. So immediately they want to question Melissa, but they can't. Because she's in the hospital. And the hospital won't let the police talk to her until she's healed. When she gets released, they still don't have enough evidence because her phone pinged from the church where she said that she was when Sandra went missing. Which means, okay, well, if she was at church, like, what's the timeline of this? So when she gets released from the hospital, instead of arresting her, they just bug her phone. They keep surveillance on her, they wiretap her phone, and the first thing that she does when she gets home from the hospital is to call Sandra's mom and ask if Sandra's other sister can come play.
Bruh.
What?
So the FBI, they intervene, they knock on Melissa's door and they're like, hey, we need you at the station. Like, we gotta ask you a couple questions. So she gets to the station. Meanwhile, they were doing tests at the church. They had a search warrant that they were executing at the church where her dad worked and where she worked. And inside of the church, they found two very alarming things. You know blinds on the window? You know how some of them come with a string? The string was white, and it was cut and retied. The ends were cut. They ran the test. It was the same fabric, the one that tied the suitcase zippers together. Then they started looking at, they were doing blue light on everything, not blue light, but the lights on everything. And in the church kitchen, you know when you're baking, you got that rolling pin?
Yeah.
It was
the
all
rolling
blood.
pin lit up for DNA, the handle. So they sent it in, and it matched Sandra's DNA. And they also had a witness. A witness came forward to the FBI who said, hey, I know you guys are working on that Sandra case. I saw something really weird. I was on my way to dinner, and when I was passing this exact place where you guys found the suitcase, because it had hit the news, right, where they found the suitcase, I saw a woman, a car parked. And I was like, oh my God, maybe they need help. Like, it's not a stop. It's not a parking lot. It's a really random place. It's not like a cute little trail. I'm going hiking. I'm going to park my car here. I mean, it's literally cow poop. What are you doing? So he stopped thinking, maybe they're having car troubles. Maybe I can help. He's on his way to dinner. So he stops the car, and Melissa is walking up from the pond. This woman. And he describes her to a T. He has never met her before, but he describes her to a T. So that was the day that Sandra disappeared. Now that Melissa is in the FBI room, they start interrogating her for hours. And the whole time, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they tell her, we know you did it. She denies everything, right? They interrogate her for 5 hours. And finally, they tell her, we have a witness putting you there where the suitcase was. That's when she just breaks down. I mean, her interrogation video is so creepy. She just breaks down and she starts sobbing. And she claims, it wasn't an accident. I didn't kill her. She just died. So May of 2010, Melissa ends up taking a plea deal, which people are shocked because they didn't think that she would. And she admits to the kidnapping and murder of Sandra. When they asked her why she did it, she gave no response. But they later did find out on her phone she was looking up other child killings, other cases of it that were very similar. Like another child was dumped into a body of water in a suitcase. I'm not sure why.
She's just a sadistic child killer?
Yeah. This one was a dark one. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.